Hello, if you are in here, please hit share. We having some technical difficulties today, but y'all know how we do. We just kind of keep pushing. Let me get Instagram in the room because they were ready. So let me get Instagram in here. Y'all, I had everything set up and ready to go, but y'all, you these first of all, these technologies. Thank y'all for joining. Thank you. Go ahead on and hit share, y'all. Hit share. Let somebody know that we are here and that we are getting ready to go. Let me go ahead on and get IG started here. Because when I tell y'all IG was ready, they was ready. And then I was like, wait a minute, my stuff is not connecting. What is going on? What is going on? So hopefully it is fixed. So go ahead on and hit share. I had to go a different route today, which is cool. It's cool. We do what we do. We roll with it. That's just kind of how that works. That's kind of how that works. But go ahead on and hit share. Let somebody know that we are here. I'll give things a minute to get connected and all of that stuff. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, so I think I got everything shared. Think I got everything shared. IG, y'all come on back in the room. I think someone from IG went ahead on and joined on YouTube. Thank you for joining. Joined on Facebook. I think it was that I saw that they joined. We'll get started. We'll get started in just a second. But in the meanwhile, let me know how you doing today. Let me know where you're joining from. Yes, come on. I'm trying to get to some comments. Come on, y'all. I look. I see. There we go. There we go. Come on with the comments. I see y'all. Thank you for sharing. For those of you who have shared, I appreciate you so much. Y'all, if you ever want to know how you can support a small business, share their content. Share their content. That is how you can support a small business, just by sharing their content. Share their content. Share their content. You are helping a small business when you share. Okay, so yesterday, we started talking about 11 subtle signs that you are in a toxic relationship and what to do about it. And so I want to go over briefly. And for those of you who don't know who I am, I always forget to introduce myself. My name is Dr. Tiffany. I'm a therapist and I'm also a relationship expert. And so I work particularly with women who are healing and recovering from traumatic relationships, such as a toxic relationship. And so usually, I'll do a little bit about toxic relationships. I try not to go just focus on narcissism, because that's one of those buzzwords. It's not a buzzword, it's actually a disorder that people are talking about all over the place. And so I try not to diagnose people when I'm doing my teachings, because the stuff is going around so much. But I believe at some point in time, we're going to have to talk about narcissism, because we're talking about toxic relationships. And if you are in a relationship with someone who has narcissistic personality disorder diagnosed, or if they have those behaviors, then I guarantee you the relationship is toxic. I can almost guarantee that to some degree. And so we'll talk about that at some points, but I want to give definition to what exactly is a toxic relationship. So yesterday we covered about 5 signs, and we stopped midway because I wanted to make sure that I preserved my voice, and I felt like my voice was going out. So I said, well, I'll come back today and finish off the other 6 that are on the list. And then I'll also go into, maybe tomorrow, talking a little bit more about boundaries and how you can set boundaries and a different type of boundaries. And I have a nice little freebie that I want to hand out to you related to boundaries, because that's another thing that we throw around. It's like, you need to set boundaries. You need to set boundaries. And some people, they do not know exactly what that means to set boundaries. And that means different depending on who you're talking to. And your boundaries are going to look different depending on who you are and what situation you're dealing with. So we'll talk a little bit about boundaries. So come on back tomorrow. We'll talk about how to set boundaries if you are in a toxic relationship, or if you've been in a toxic relationship. How do you begin to set those boundaries with your partner, or if it's a family member? How do you begin to set those boundaries? So yesterday we covered 5 signs, subtle signs that you're in a toxic relationship. We talked about toxic cycles, and we're talking about when the relationship is one-sided. We also talked about when your partner is jealous and then they're controlling. We talked about how it may be hard for you to be yourself if you're in a toxic relationship. And we also talked about, I think we left out talking about abuse and what abuse looks like if you're in a toxic relationship. And the last one we left out talking about, was that 5? Was that 5? I think that was 5. Yeah, that was 5. So those are the 5 that we talked about yesterday. And today we're going to pick up with the other remaining 6 subtle signs that you're in a toxic relationship. Y'all ready? Let me know if y'all ready. Hit some thumbs up, some likes. Let me know you're there. Let me know you're present if you are ready. Sign number 6 that you are in a toxic relationship is gaslighting. Gaslighting. So, y'all, these things are floating around. So I was like, I cannot as a therapist, and knowing that I'm working with women who are in these situations, not address them. Like that to me it would go against what I stand for if I don't address these things. So what exactly is gaslighting? Gaslighting is a form of manipulation. Let's just put it like that. It is a form of manipulation. And what it typically involves is the person trying to make you feel like what you said or what you did or what you heard them say was completely unreal. Like it is unreal. It's a form of psychological manipulation, which the whole goal behind it is for them to lower your self-esteem or to sow seeds of self-doubt and confusion into the person's mind. So they may do a particular thing, or they may even say a particular thing, and then they may come back behind it and say, well, I didn't say that. It's all in your head. Like I didn't say it like that. Or they may completely reconstruct what they said and try to make it seem like that you imagine what they said or what they did. Like it was completely in your head. And the whole goal, like I said, is for them to, it's a form of manipulation. And it's also a form of control. But they're trying to get you to doubt who you are and doubt how you feel and doubt that you saw different things, or even to hold them accountable, because people who usually exhibit these kind of behaviors don't really want to be held accountable. They don't really want the accountability, and they don't even really want to be called out for it. So they'll try to play these mind games with you and make you feel like, or make it seem like you didn't hear what you thought you heard, or you didn't feel what you thought you felt, or you didn't see what you thought you saw, or even if you saw it, then somehow or another it's your fault. It's your fault. So you're cheating. I pick up the phone and I see it, but it's my fault that you're cheating because I picked up the phone and I saw it and I shouldn't have been going through your phone. These are forms of gaslighting. Gaslighting. So sign number, 7. If I lose count, y'all, like, bear with me, because I might lose count. So sign number 7 is that they play the victim. It comes right behind the gaslighting. They play the victim. You're always out to get them, or they're always the one pour them, and they pour them that they had to go through certain situations, or pour them that they had to endure certain things, or that they got caught doing something. Like they always have to play the victim, and everything usually is all about them. It is all about them. Somehow or another, the relationship ends up all about them. If something happens, is directly related to, well, you did this because of me. No, I did this because I was hurt. I responded because I was hurt. And they always try to play the victim. And the whole goal behind it, remember what I said, is psychological manipulation. It is manipulation. It is manipulation. And when you find people who are always try to play the victim, or who play the victim, then we know that there are some unhealed wounds there. Usually it's related to rejection or abandonment. And it's really hard for them to see things outside of themselves. I know somebody, like I'm thinking about somebody in my mind that's, right now. It's like, it's hard for them. Never mind that you're not taking responsibility for how you ended up where you are, or that you are the reason why you're in the situation that you're in, but it's everyone else's fault but yours. How is it everyone else's fault of how you are but yours, or where you are but yours? So they tend to play the victim. And it's hard to be in a relationship with someone who cannot take responsibility for their actions, or who can, but may choose to not take responsibility for their actions because somehow they feel, I think we talked about this a little bit yesterday, they feel entitled to what they're doing. They feel entitled to how they respond, or how they even treat you. They feel entitled. Like I'm like there's like it's almost like they, I don't know any other word to put it, but they feel entitled to how they treat you. That was sign number 7. Sign number 8 is deception. Have y'all ever been in a relationship with somebody that you find out that they're not who they portray to be? Have you ever been in a relationship with somebody like that? Where they just were not who they portrayed to be. They were not who they portrayed to be. That is a form of deception. It's like they start off, and we see this especially with love bombing. They start off being Prince Charming. They stay Prince or Princess Charming, because this is men and women doing these things. And they start off being like this ideal partner or the ideal friend. And it's almost like they can detect the wounds that you've had in the past. And they probably do on a spiritual level. It's almost like they detect these wounds that you have. And they intentionally design their package or who they are to fulfill what they know that you hadn't had in the past, or those broken areas in your life. But the problem with deception is you can only keep up a front for so long. You can only keep it up for so long before the real you starts spilling out. But with people who are deceptive, usually by the time you catch that they're being deceitful, is you're kind of involved with them. Like, you're real good friends with them. You done shared a whole lot of stuff with them at this point. Like you're really close with them. Like there's a deeper bond with them at this point. And so it becomes a little bit harder for you to fall off, because you're still, in your mind, you're still holding on to the that there may be a glimpse of them, that the glimpse of the part that they presented that actually may be real. And it's hard for you to really to grasp the concept that, you know what, they might have lied. They might have really manipulated this whole thing. The person that they came into this being really might not be the person that they portrayed to be. And for some, that is a hard concept. Like, that is a hard thing to grasp, because remember, you've laid your heart out to this person. You may have shared yourself with this person. You may have shared life with this person for a certain period of time. But with deception, you can only keep up with it for so long before the real person starts coming out. So that's sign number, where am I at, y'all? Sign number 7. Where my virtual note takers? Where are my virtual note takers that can help keep me on what number I'm on? So that was sign number 8. Okay, so sign number 9 is infidelity, recurring infidelity. Now, I have this thing about cheating that I explain it a little bit differently, because can a relationship survive cheating? Absolutely. Relationships can survive cheating. We know that. Relationships can survive cheating. Let's just go and get that out. Relationships can survive cheating. Can relationships survive recurring cheating? They probably can. But it's at that point, it's not a can they, it's a should they. Should they survive recurring cheating? And so here's my thing with cheating. If you're in a relationship with someone and they've cheated on you multiple times, your mental, emotional state at that point is at stake. They are misusing and abusing you, not only your mental and emotional state are at risk at this point, but also your body is at risk, because we know, science proves it, the more partners that you have intimately, and I say that to make sure I'm in guidelines with Facebook, the more partners you have intimately, the more chances of you catching STIs and all of that stuff increases. So if you're in a relationship with someone who is recurringly cheating on you, then you're not only just at risk mentally, your body, your physical self is at risk, your emotional state is at risk. There are a whole lot of risks that go behind that. So if a person cheats on you one time, and I never would ever tell a person that they have to stay in a relationship where a partner is cheating. You don't. You have grounds. If you are married and your partner cheats on you, you have all the grounds you need to get out of there. You have all the grounds that you need. I don't know why we tell people that they have to stay in these situations. They do not. Hey, Dion. They do not. They do not have to stay in a relationship with someone that's cheating. Can we go ahead on and break? Like, can we break that up right now? Like, for some reason, we have told people, and I don't know whether pop culture does this. We see it all the time in the movies and all social media and all this. The girls who accept that their partners cheat on them, but you don't have to stay in a relationship. Your walking papers. Come on, Dion said those are your walking papers. If they cheat, those are your walking papers. I don't care if you're married or if you're single. Those are your walking papers to get out of there. But recurring infidelity, which means they cheat more than one time, whether that's multiple partners or whether that's the same partner more than one time. Like the person that comes to my mind, because I watch reality TV, I like reality TV, and I look at it for all different kind of reasons, but the show that I've been watching or that I like watching is Married to something Huntsville, with Martell and Melody Holt on there. I can't even think of the name. What's the name, y'all? Like, I can't even think of the name. And I watched the show. They on break right now. I'm just waiting on them to put some new episodes out. But Martell and Melody Holt, if you're familiar with the situation, that they ended up divorced, but he cheated on her and he blamed her for the cheating. Now, when cheating goes wrong in a relationship, I can say this: it's both partners have a part in that. They really do. They have a part in that. It takes therapy to help you understand all of that and break all of that down, which we're not doing that now. I knew it was going to be Martell. You knew I was going to say Martell because it's so popular. Like, that's, they still in tabloids and everything. They got divorced like 2 or 3 years ago, but, it's still all in the tabloids and stuff. But, so let me get back to where, girl, Martell. Okay, so Martell and Melody Holt, he cheated on her. I think was she pregnant? Was she pregnant during that time? I think he cheated before she got pregnant. And then after she got pregnant, he kept the relationship with the woman that he had been cheating on her with. He was a serial cheater. There you go. He was a serial cheater. But from my understanding, it was the same person that he cheated on her with several times. And so she finally decided after, they tried. I thought, they were trying to reconcile their marriage. But he would not leave the other girl alone. He just would not leave her alone. And so I never, ever would tell a person to stay in a relationship where there is cheating. Because baby girl, you are worth more than that. You're worth someone betraying your trust. You're worth more than someone putting your mental and emotional state at risk. Like, you're worth more than that. You are worth more than that. You deserve more than that. And I'm convinced that a lot of times people just continue to do these things is because you let them. That's where boundaries come in at. People treat you how you let them treat you. That's just point blank, period. People treat you how you allow for them to treat you. And so if you don't set the boundary and say, hey, You did this one time. And let me give this little caveat about cheating too. So if a person cheats one time, they're apologetic. If you guys have agreed to reconcile the relationship and continue to move forward, they're apologetic. You see it in their behavior. You guys are in therapy working this thing out together. Their behavior change. I can't say that so many times. Their behavior is changing. They ain't hiding their phone. They're sneaking. They're very transparent about what happened. And if you need to ask 50 million questions to get clarity on what happened, then ask your 50 million questions, and they should be open enough to answer all 50 million of your questions. And if they're not, then I need some water. I had to take some water. But the part of reconciling in a relationship where there has been cheating involves transparency. And if they're not willing to be transparent, if they're not willing to have some accountability and come to the carpet with a third party, a mutual third party that's going to hold them accountable, hold you accountable, and give you guys some real working tools to help reconcile your family, your marriage, your relationship, whatever it is, then you may not want to continue going forward, because without those steps in place, you're almost setting yourself up for it to happen again. You're almost setting, if they're not holding themselves, if they don't take responsibility for it and don't let you have to have discovered it, and then they gaslight, don't let you have to have discovered it, baby. Get out of there. Get out of there. I do not care if it's a marriage or love and marriage. Thank you. Who was that responded? Love and marriage. Thank you. Love and marriage, Huntsville. Get out of there, because the person that's actually repented, they want to do better. They want to hold themselves accountable. They should want to. Whew. Okay. I almost got off topic. I have to teach on that because we live in a society that just normalizes cheating. We really do. And I don't know. That don't work for my relationship. It don't work for yours either. You just need to admit it. It don't work. It does not work. It does not work. Polygamy, none of that. It don't work. It don't work. Inviting third people into your relationship. It don't work. It don't work for relationships. It does not work. Sorry. Okay. What side am I on? Where my virtual note taker? I got caught up in that one. The next one is trust issues. Subtle signs you're in a toxic relationship is trust issues. We talked a little bit about yesterday jealousy and your partner being jealous of you. But trust issues is a sign that the relationship, could be toxic. And usually trust issues. Here's the thing about trust issues. If people come into the relationship with trust issues and they just kind of project that onto you, then they got some stuff that they really need to deal with. And Dion says, Ingrid, excuse me, they feel like if B stayed, they should stay. That's where they come from. They looking at Beyonce and Jay-Z and thinking to stay in a relationship because she's no. Have we heard any more rumors about Jay-Z cheating after that? I'm wondering. I don't follow them like that. But have y'all heard any more rumors about Jay-Z cheating after the whole Lemonade and all that stuff that happened with Beyonce and Jay-Z and her sister jumped him in the elevator? Have we heard any more rumors? So, I think about that kind of stuff. Maybe they did the work that they need to do in order to mend their relationship. But if you ain't doing the work, then, if you ain't doing the work, the relationship ain't going to be mended. That's just it. It's not going to be mended. So trust issues, if they come into the relationship with trust issues and they're projecting those on you. So you go out, with your girlfriends and nothing since the elevator. Thank you. Nothing since the elevator. So B and J have done their work. And maybe it's time for you and your boo to do your work. Or for you to get out of there. Happy up. Do the work or get out of there. That's just kind of how that works. So trust issues. They come into the relationship with trust issues. That is their problem. It's not yours. It's not yours. And I think sometimes we try to adjust because we know people are hurt, and we try our best to adjust, accommodate them and all of that. But their issues are their issues. We all have to do our own healing work. I can't do your healing work for you. You have to do your own healing work. We all do. So your trust issues are your trust issues. And know that when you're going into a relationship with someone who has trust issues, it is going to be almost difficult for you to have a healthy relationship where trust is going to be at the foundation. It's going to be almost difficult because they need to go do their work. Or if you're the one with trust issues, you need to go do your healing work. You cannot set a healthy foundation off unhealthy people. You just can't. It don't work that way. You have to go get healthy, then come back, and you're able to set a good foundation. And trust is at the root, is one of the building blocks. Trust, respect, mutual respect. That's one of the mutual grounds. Those are all of the things, morals, values, all of that is at the foundation of a healthy relationship. And there has to be common ground on that. There has to be unity in that. And if not, then, you're already setting your relationship up to fail right from the beginning. And then the last one, here's the one that we often ignore, is that you don't feel safe around them. You don't feel safe. Now, I'm a woman, so I'm going to say this from my standpoint as a woman. We know when we don't feel safe around people. We know. Sometimes we explain it away. Sometimes we just kind of, in therapy, we call it disassociate. And if you had some trauma in the past where your safety was neglected, or no one cared about you, or no one taught you how to provide those boundaries, or to provide a safe environment, or if you grew up in an unsafe home, or in a lot of chaos, or if there's abuse, if you had some abuse or some kind of trauma from the past, then you may not really know what what feels like. You really may not know what a safe partner feels like. But we do know what unsafe feels like. So in your body, you may feel a lot of tension around this person. You may feel a lot of anxiety around them. You may feel like you have to be on guard, or you always watching your back around them. I've been into some people's houses that they don't want to leave their purses. They keep their purse everywhere they go because they can't trust the people that they live with. That's an unsafe environment. Because what I am going to do is to put my bag wherever I'm going to put my bag in my house. And if I have to be concerned about somebody taking something out of my bag in my house, then somebody need to go, and it ain't going to be me. Okay? So you don't feel safe. And so what I feel like we need to get back to is actually learning how to be present and paying attention to our body. Pay attention to what it's like for us to be around certain people, or to be around, especially if you're dating this person, because we're talking about toxic relationships, and we're talking about toxic relationships, which involve friendships, partnerships, careers, just toxic relationships. It's not just partners. Pay attention to what your body is feeling around this person. Like, we're so used to reacting, but sometimes we really need to just sit back and observe. Sit back and think what's going on, or do what we call self-check. How do I feel around them? How do they make me feel? Do I tense up? Am I comfortable? Do I feel like I can be myself? Or do I feel like I have to walk on eggshells? Do I feel like I can only talk to them about certain things? And then if I talk to them about other things, they blow up about it, which is a form of emotional manipulation, by the way. It's another form of verbal abuse. And all of that, if they blow up when you're being vulnerable, can I be vulnerable with them? Why am I not able to be vulnerable with them? These are questions that we have to get back to asking ourselves when we're in relationship with people, because who you're in relationship with matters. It matters. It matters to your growth. It matters to your career. It matters to what you've been called to do. Who you're in partnership with matters. And that goes for your family. Because sometimes we think, if this is my family, I can't just up and leave my family. I can't just not be around my family. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Because some of them don't mean you no good. Let's just be real honest about that. All family members are not good family members, and we still love them, and we can love them and be far away from them. We can love them and not be subjected to their verbal abuse. I see this on social media, and I know you guys, do too, where it pains my heart to see a parent curse a child out. That pains my heart. I don't know. I didn't grow up with my parents cursing me out, and so maybe that's the reason why it pains my heart. But I I don't like for people to even raise their voice at me. And so it pains my heart to see people, parents, because children are, they're vulnerable and they're, to be protected. But to curse a child out, I mean, like, go get your so and so and so and so. Oh, that burns me, because the words that you say to them impact their self-esteem. It impacts their self-esteem so much. And so if you don't feel safe around the person, if they're cursing you out and calling you names and speaking all kind of ill will against you, you don't have to be around them. I don't care who they are. I got a phone call not long ago from someone who's talking about a family member, and cursed them out and told them they can go to, go down there with the devil. I don't, they told them they wish they died, and it'd be a cold day, and you know what? Before we know it, that ain't no cold where the devil at. But they said all these mean, hurtful things to them. And my response was, well, you ain't got to pick up the phone. I mean, you don't. You don't have to pick up the phone. And then if they start saying these things to you, if you're around them, you can't just walk away. You can. Like, that's an option. Or you can just hang the phone up. Like, you can do that. As adults, you can do that. Children don't have that luxury. They can't just, walk away and go choose to stay somewhere else. So they don't really have that luxury. So we have to be careful about what we say to our children. And so let's move into a little bit before we close out, because I've been on here a lot longer than I intended to. Well, what can you do? Like, I talked a little bit about it yesterday, and we'll talk more details about it tomorrow. Thank you, Dion. We'll talk a little bit more about it tomorrow, about like what can you do to begin safeguarding yourself. If you find that some of this resonates to you, these signs, that you're in a toxic relationship resonate, what do you do so that you can begin safeguarding yourself? Whether you're looking at going into a relationship or whether you're in a relationship that's toxic already, what do you do? The number one thing that you can do is to set boundaries. That is the number one thing that can safeguard you from being in a toxic relationship, is learning how to set boundaries. Not just set boundaries, but also maintain boundaries. So boundaries, the beauty of boundaries, and I think boundaries are beautiful. Like, I had a training where I did rocking your sexy boundaries or something like that, because to me boundaries is sexy. Like, that's sexy, because it says that you're confident enough to know what you want, what you need, what you desire, and you're also confident enough to put those in place so that no one can disrespect you. And if they do, then you have a place that you're going to put them, a little section in your world that you're gonna put them that's not right next to you. But boundaries allows for you to protect your space, protect your mental space, your emotional space, your physical space if you need to. That's what boundaries do. And so boundaries teach us where we start, where we stop, and where someone else starts and where they stop in our life. And that also helps us give definition to what our expectations are. What are your expectations? Some people go into relationships without expectations, but I'm not going into anything without, I don't care if it's a business relationship. I go into that relationship with expectations, and so should you. Because if you don't go in with expectations, then how do you know when they're not holding up their end of the deal? Or how do you know when you're not holding up your end of the deal? So boundaries teaches us expectations, and that's the number one way that we can safeguard against a toxic relationship, or we can learn how to come to deal with someone who is toxic. So, like I said, come on back tomorrow. I'll take questions. If anyone has questions, they can post questions. Let me check my comments for anyone who may have questions. I thank you for those of you who have come on and share. Go back and make sure you tag somebody. Tag somebody in this that you know need it. I know y'all know somebody who need it. And sharing allows for it to reach more people who may need it. And I think of sharing, it's like, oh, well, you never know who may come across this video. Like, I be scrolling on videos, reels, or even on, if you're on Facebook, then Facebook has like a watch where it automatically, pulls up different videos. And you never know what video you're going to come across for the most part. You just never know. So you never know who will come across this video who is in a toxic or abusive relationship, and they are looking for answers. And what your share does and what your tag does is help this video go a lot further to someone who was watching this and who needed to hear that in this moment. So another thing that we do, that we offer, is our coaching services for those who are going in similar relationships or similar situations, and they don't really know what their next steps are. They don't know anything about therapy. They have the means to even get to therapy, and they just need to know what their next steps are. So we offer a free 30-minute coaching session designed to help you get your next steps. So we spend the first 15 minutes of our coaching sessions with just us listening. Like, I'm literally listening. I have my notes here. I keep notes. I always keep stuff for me to write with. I have my pad here, and I'm literally taking notes the whole time. Whether we're on video or whether we're over the phone, I'm taking notes the whole time of what you're saying. What are you telling me? What are your struggles right now? Where are you trying to go? Why do you feel the way that you feel? I'm taking notes. And then the last 15 minutes, I spend that time with giving you strategy. It's giving you strategy. Here's what I see. Here's what I feel like will be a better option for you. Have you did this? I'm asking follow-up questions. But if you are working with a coach, you're going to get strategy. Action-oriented strategy is much different from therapy. Therapy typically goes back and deal with a lot of your past stuff and make the connection between your past and your present. Coaching usually helps you reconcile the past real quickly. Let's figure out what's going on with you right now, and here's what you can do for the future. So it's very different. So I do have the link there. If you're on IG, it's in my profile. I think you can schedule directly from my profile, the schedule now button, or you can click the links, and those links should have a contact me where you'll be able to schedule a time with me and schedule for the free discovery call. Anybody who ever works with me, the first thing that they get is a free discovery call. And the reason why I do that is so that I can listen to what's going on with you and be able to share whether or not you need to go to therapy or whether you need a coach. Because if you need therapy, you don't need a coach. Well, you can have both. You can have both. But your next steps will probably not be to hire a coach. It may need to be to hire a therapist, and then come back and hire a coach when you need a little bit more accountability and you're ready to move forward, at a much faster pace. Or if you have one specific thing that you want to work towards. So if you're on Instagram, then go to my scheduling and book the free discovery call. If you are on Facebook, then you can go right there. The description, actually have it right below the video. You should see your first 30 minutes of coaching is on us, and the link is right there. If you do not see the link, comment and I'll post the link for you. Or I'll go back and repost the link. But you can also find the link by clicking on my profile. It'll take you to my website. My website, you can book directly from there. Schedule the free discovery call if you're a business that's working with me. I also offer consulting services where I do mental health trainings for businesses. A lot of stuff is going on. We're all in the middle of a pandemic right now. We're still in the middle of a pandemic, by the way. We're still in the middle of a pandemic. A lot of things happen. Like the work environment looks totally different from what it looked like when I was in corporate America. It looks totally different. You know, so you may be working with someone now that's living in a whole nother state from you if you're working from home. So the work environment looks totally different. And so how do you maintain that connection as an employee? How do you maintain that connection? Because teamwork is still valuable even if you're working online. Or what do you do if you have an employee that comes to you and they're having some issues? They can't show up at work on time, or they can't, what do you do? How do you handle it? They're telling you they're having problems, in their family, and it's impacting their work environment, because we do know that when people have issues at home, it will impact their work environment. It impacts their productivity. And so I offer those consulting services for businesses who are needing some mental health trainings. So happy ever, it all starts with a discovery call. Your first steps of working with me in either capacity is with a discovery call. I don't see any questions. I love you guys so much. Make sure you hit share on the way out. Thank you so much for those who are joined today, who have interacted. Thank you for your engagement, IG. Thank you for your engagement, Facebook. Indeed is in the house. I haven't seen any comments come in from Indeed, but I recently, and if you don't know, these are for business owners, Indeed recently started allowing for you to stream to their creators, to stream to their platforms. And I think the only qualification for you is to have 150, I think it's 100, to make 150 connections or something like that. So take advantage of it. I use StreamYard. StreamYard allows for me to stream to multiple platforms at one time. Like I'm streaming to three different platforms right now. Usually, if my stuff had acted right in the beginning, I'd be streaming to 4 or 5 platforms. Yeah, about 4 or 5 platforms. So I have 3 platforms on Facebook, Indeed, YouTube, and then Instagram. I stream directly from my phone because Instagram's so special. Y'all so special. Y'all need a whole nother device to stream from. Y'all be like, forget them little streaming services. You're gonna have to get me directly. This is how Instagram is, that you got to get Instagram directly. So I use my phone for IG, but I stream to all my platforms at one time, and I do that intentionally. So I love you. If you have any questions, about StreamYard, I actually do have a link for those who are interested in StreamYard. I have a link that will give you a $10 credit for signing up using my affiliate link. So if you're interested in that, just let me know. I'll share my affiliate link with you, and you get a $10 credit, and I get a $10 credit, and it works out for both of us, right? It works out for both of us. I love you so much. Y'all have a wonderful, wonderful day. See you back here tomorrow. We'll talk about how to set boundaries in toxic relationships. Bye. Yeah, it is smart. It is smart.